Here's my 1967 Chevelle SS 396. I've had the car for about 15 years. I bought it in 2003. When I bought it, as you can see from some of the photos on the internet, it was in all original condition. It is a California car. It's been in California its whole life. I bought it from a gentleman named Mr. Anderson, Lorenzo, and he was the original owner since 1967. He had it for 32 years, and I ended up getting the vehicle from a friend of his that took over the car and essentially stripped the whole car down to the frame, as you can see again from some of the photos that I'll have posted. Had the frame sandblasted and built the car all the way from the ground up. All the sheet metal on the car is original to the vehicle. Nothing's been replaced except for two areas which I'll show you and we'll discuss. There was some cancer on the driver's side here on the lower quarter, so from this line all the way back was replaced, and then in the trunk pan, which I'll show you later when we open up the rear end, the trunk pan was replaced. Other than that, the quarter panels, the doors, the fenders, the hood, the trunk deck, even the bumpers are all original to the car. It was most of its life, the 32 years in the high desert of California, so it was a dry climate. Very, very little surface rust on the vehicle. The car's solid in that regard. So in 2003, I essentially stripped the car completely down, had everything stripped down to bare metal so we could see what we were working with. Had a very nice paint job put on the car, had it completely restored, and after about 5 years I noticed the paint started lifting on the vehicle. So back in 2015, 2 years ago, I had the car completely stripped again and repainted with a better quality paint and a better body shop that did a phenomenal job. There is not a scratch on this car. It is literally flawless. And I'm going to take this out in the sun. You'll see a better look at it here in a little bit. I do have a build sheet with the car. It did call for a tan top. I ended up going with a black vinyl top. This top is about 10 years old. The restoration on the vehicle, if I had to guess, has about 10,000 miles on it. But again, the paint is about 2 years old. As far as the drivetrain goes, it is an original numbers matching vehicle. The block is original to the car. I have replaced several components, as a lot of people do over time. However, I've retained every component that came originally with the car that will go with the sale of it. That includes the original smog pump, yes. I did say smog pump in 1967. California started putting smog pumps on these cars. I have the original smog pump, the air intake, the intake to the block, the exhaust manifolds. I have all that, and it will go with the sale of the car. I do have the original Quadrajet carburetor that I'll have to locate. It's somewhere, but it will go with the sale of the car. When it went through its last renovation in 2015 with the body and the paint, at that time I decided to pull all the moldings and glass out of the car, and I had all the moldings straightened and polished, so all the moldings around all the glass is original to the car. All this, the trim around the vinyl top, it's original to the car. It's flawless. Had it all straightened out and polished up. It's not any aftermarket, overseas, generic material. It's all original to the car. The glass I did replace in 2015, and again, this paint job and the glass and all that has about 500 miles on it, if that. It's essentially sat in my garage for the last 2 years, and that's why I'm kind of selling it. I just do not take it out anymore. Some of the things that I've replaced, obviously, are the badges. Those were beyond restoration, in my opinion, when I had the car, when I first bought it. The door handles have been replaced. The trim around the wheel wells, that's aftermarket. The front grille, this strip right here that trims out the hood, that's original to the car. Same with this Chevelle is original to the car. I've replaced all the T3 lights with factory T3 lights. These bezels right here are actually factory off the shelf that I have a box to prove that I paid a lot of money for these. These are original factory light bezels here. These are original to the car. Unfortunately, the grill is not, but I do still have the grill that will go with the sale of the car. If you're interested in having that restored, it's all yours. The bumpers, again, original to the car. Had those replated. They're in great shape. The plates are the original California black and gold plates, not anything new, though the new ones are very cool. I have the original plates to the car. I can prove that through the original registration slip that I have with the documentation. Not a lot of documentation on the car. I tried to keep the interior as original as I could. The seats were reupholstered. The interior essentially is in excellent condition. The headliner. The car's been completely rewired with all new wiring. That was about 10 years ago. And outside of the JL audio stereo system that I'm going to show you here soon, there is nothing that is aftermarket with the car except for a temperature gauge down there. Some of the things that don't work are the clock. I have the original radio in the car, but again, that's not working. It's just kind of sitting there to complete the aesthetics of the car. The carpet is in relatively good shape for being about 10 years old. Again, maybe 10,000 miles on this car, so I was very careful getting in and out of it. There hasn't been any food in here or beverages, maybe some water, but that's about it to drink. The kick handles will need to be replaced. I never got around to replacing those. Those are not in the greatest shape. Again, that's minimal. The dash is essentially flawless. Everything works on the car, all the lighting, the turn signals, the brake lights. I did do a front brake disc conversion to the car. Oh, and the controls to the heater do not work. Something someone would have to look into. Get into the glove box. There's the deck for the JL audio stereo system. Some of the trim on the doors obviously has been replaced. They were beyond restoration, so that's all been replaced. The door, the skins here, the interior skins, that's been replaced. All the knobs and all that. Everything works great rolling up. There's no binding. Everything's been adjusted, so you don't have to lower everything down. Doors close. I've got to slam them sometimes. Okay, so that's the exterior of the car. I'm going to pause this and we're going to go underneath the hood and into the trunk.